Hello everyone and welcome to Tipsy, where we actually provide you with top tips to meet your specific need. So if you're new to this channel, please consider hitting the like and subscribe button and also enable the notification bell icon so as to be the very first to receive new post notifications and updates whenever we create a new video or tutorial. So today we are actually going to be sharing with you a top number one strategy that you can actually use to find bet picks of the day that you can actually term it as bankers of the day for your bet slip. So we are actually going to be using an app plus a calculator to come out with the best banker of the day that you can actually use as your bet pick choices. So if you actually have a particular method that you are using or any app that you are actually using to actually predict matches, please make sure to leave a comment below this video so that we can actually come out with even more tutorial to actually tell you how you can actually use those apps to make the best and the safest picks for the day. So to begin with, what you actually want to do is to make sure that you actually locate your Play Store. As you can see in my case, just click on it directly. And at the top search of your Play Store, just make sure to type Bet Mentor. And when you click on search, you are actually going to be displayed with this app that you can see here. So this is how this app actually looks like from the inside. And once you are sure that this is actually the app, then please make sure to go ahead to install it successfully onto your device. And once the installation has been completed, what you want to do is to locate the open button as you can see here and click on open directly. Once you do so, you're actually going to be taken to a front page that actually looks like this, that you can see matches actually inside of this front page. Here inside of this app, there are actually two areas of concern that we are actually going to focus in this app. So the first area here, once you are here, you are going to see that by default, there is a section right down at the bottom of this app that actually says fixture. In the fixture area, you can also see an area at the side of it that actually says predictions. In the prediction area, what I want you to do is to click on the prediction area and you are actually going to be displayed with matches under the prediction category. You can see that you can also make use of this top navigated button that you can see here based on date. You can see there are dates here, or you can click on this calendar here and choose or switch on what date you actually want to use. You can see there are different dates inside of here, and once you select a particular date, you can go ahead to confirm the date by clicking on the confirm button, and you are actually going to be taken to that particular date. So by default, I'll actually come to the date of today, which you can see here at this top navigated area. And once as I'm on the date of today, what I want to do is to come back to this area that says prediction and make sure that I click on the prediction area to come back to the default area by prediction. Now, what we want to look at is to look at the matches that are actually here on this front page. These are actually matches of the day that will actually term them as bankers of the day. But of course, you can see that based on this front page, we have three matches that have actually been displayed here. We have a match in the Germany Obliga Hamburg, which is a match between Turkey playing with Paloma. We also have a match in the Germany Regionalliga Nordost, which is a match between Energy Cottbus playing with BFC Dynamo. And we also have a match in the World Sudamericana. Is a match between Magalhães playing with Cesar Vallejo. So here there are three matches that have actually been displayed to us based on the prediction area or category of this app. Now, of course, these three matches are actually the bankers of the day, but of course, we are actually going to make a deep-in analysis to come out with the best and safest picks that we can actually term them as bankers of the day. As an example, I will actually come to this area that says Germany Regionalliga Nordost, and of course, I'm going to see that as an example, this is a match between Energy Cottbus playing with BFC Dynamo. Here in this area, you're actually going to see that this section that says total goals have actually been highlighted in this area. Once you see total goals, you're actually going to see that because they have set total goals here, we already have in mind that, of course, they have actually predicted this particular match as under goal category. But now what we want to do is to make sure that based on the percentages that you can see displayed here, example, we have over 2.5 goals, 76%. We have over 1.5 goal, 98%. Under 1.5 goal as 2%. Where our focus here is to look on which percentage is actually the highest percentage, which actually means that for the highest percentages of prediction that you can see here, it actually tells us that the probability of it to actually occur is actually the greatest. But of course, by looking at this match, what you are going to realize is that the greatest percentage is actually 98% here, which actually reflects on the over 1.5 goals. In other words, if we are to pick this game to include it as the banker of the day in our bet slip, we are actually going to pick the 98%, which actually reflects on over 1.5 goal as the best choice to actually occur in this match. But of course, we are not actually going to conclude here because I earlier mentioned that we are actually going to use a calculator to actually come out with the best picks once as it concerns these predictions. But of course, you are going to ask me, why are we actually going to use a calculator in actually to come out with the best pick? You are going to see that now. Once you have actually made note of which percentage is actually the greatest, as in this case 98% for over 1.5 goal, the next step you actually want to take is to come to the match itself that you can see here and click on it directly or tap on it with your finger. I will now click or tap on it. Once you do that, you will actually be redirected to a next page, which you are going to see, as in this case. You can see the form of this team, both the home and away team. You can see the form based on W and L, D and W, which actually means win, lose, draw for D, W for win, and L for lose. But our concern is not there. Our concern why we're actually going to use a calculator is actually right down below. So just make sure to scroll down and until you are going to arrive this section that actually says standings. Standings is actually our greatest area of focus, which we actually want to introduce to you. So of course, here you are going to see that Energy Kutbus have actually played 29 games. You can see based on MP, W, D, L, F, and A, which MP simply means the number of gameplay or matches played. W means wins, D means draw, L means lose, F means the go for, and A means go against. So now we are actually going to concentrate on these two games, the number of matches played, the wins, the loss, the goal for, and the goals against. Now, we are actually going to see that for Energy Kutbus, they have actually played 29 games and they have actually scored 59 goals and they have actually conceived 25. So now, this is the area that we're actually going to use calculator. We are actually going to use the number of goals for and divide by the number of matches played in order to have a given numbers in decimal. And of course, we are actually going to draw a line of range which you should concentrate when it concerns over 1.5 or 2.5 goals. So in this case, what we want to do is to take 59 divided by 29 and see what number we're actually going to take. What number we're actually going to have. The number which we will actually have will actually reflect the average goal score rate of Energy Kutbus. We're actually going to do the same for BFC Dynamo. And of course, if the average goal score rate of a given team, once the F or the number of goal for is divided by the number of matches played is above 1.8, it means that that team is very high in scoring. Once it is 1.8 and going above 1.8, it means it is very, very good at scoring. But if it is between 1.5 to 1.8, it means they have average rate at scoring. The same way also applies on the rate at which they actually conceive goals, which means that we're actually going to, if we want to calculate the average number of goals conceived or the rate at which they actually conceive, to know the defense or the defense or the conceiving power of that team, we're actually going to take the number of goals that they have actually conceived and divide by the number of matches played. If the range is between 0.1 to 0.5, it means that that team is very, very defensive and the rate at which goals to be conceived will be low. In other words, goal possibility will be very slim. But if it is above 0.5 and going to 0.8 and 0.10 and 1 and going up, That's 0.5 to 0.9, 1.0 and going upward. It means that the rate at which they conceive is good. So we actually want to concentrate on teams that are good at scoring and they are not very defensive. In this case, the probability of goals to occur here is very great. So now we are actually going to use a calculator to see what we're actually talking about here. I will come here and want to go to my calculator, as in this case. So I will come back and try to see, you can see 59 divided by 29 to see the average goal score rate of Energy Could Boost. 59 divided by 29. So I will come here, 59 divided by 29. And you can see that the goal score rate is 2.0, which is above 1.8. And to tell you that Energy Could Boost is very high at scoring. In other words, if they are very high at scoring, we also want to check the defense of its opponent. If the team is very, very high at scoring, but its opponent is very, very defensive, it means that it will be very difficult for goals to actually occur in this match. So our next step is to check the defense rate of the opponent, because Energy Could Boost already have a very high capacity of scoring. But now if we look at the rate at which its opponent either defend or conceive, we're actually going to know. So the opponent is actually BFC Dynamo. We're actually going to take 35 divided by 29. If it is 0.5, between 0 to 0.5, and even coming downward, it means it is very defensive. But if it's above 0.5, then the possibility of Energy Could Boost to put goals here is very possible. So we are going to use 35 divided by 29. So I will come back and use 35 divided by 29 and see the rate. You can see the rate at which the opponent actually conceive is 1.2, which is already above 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, and 0.8. If it was below 0.5 or between 0.1 to 0.5, then it means that Dynamo is very defensive, and therefore the opponent having a score capacity of 2.0, which is very high, it will be very difficult for it to score its opponent if the rate at which they conceive was between 0.1 to 0.5. But in this case, it is even above 1, which means that they conceive greatly. In other words, Energy Could Boost has the great capacity of putting in more goals. So there we have already concluded that goal possibility is even very high. Now, of course, we want to conclude this by using a BFC Dynamo to also divide 47 divided by 29 to see the rate at which they actually have, if they are also actually good at scoring. So 47 divided by 29, we're actually going to do that. 47 divided by 29, you can see 1.6. It means that they score at the rate of 1.6, but Energy Could Boost score even better than this its opponent Dynamo, because Energy Could Boost was 2.0, which means it has a high scoring capacity more than Dynamo, which is 1.6. So these two teams are actually good at scoring. But now, since Dynamo has a score rate capacity of 1.6, what you want to do is to also check the rate at which the opponent, which is Energy Could Boost, actually conceived. So if they are very defensive, it means that it will be difficult for the opponent Dynamo to actually score. So we will now go to check the opponent conceive rate, which is Energy Could Boost. So we are actually going to take 25 divided by 29, and we are actually going to conclude this peak. So 25 divided by 29, you can see that it is 0.8. In other words, it is already above, it is already above 0.5. If it was 0, between 0.1 to 0.5, it means that Energy Could Boost is very, very defensive. But if it is above 0.5, but it is not up to 1, which means that Energy Could Boost is still defensive, but it is not so defensive. And since the opponent has a score rate of 1.6, it is very possible for the Dynamo or its opponent to actually have at least a goal in this match. Also, by looking at the calculation, you can see that the possibility of goal to occur here can be 2:1, because the opponent, Energy Could Boost, is very high at scoring, and the opponent is also good at scoring, but not as good as Energy Could Boost. So to conclude, since it is matches where even the opponent, which is even low at scoring, may actually want to impress. In other words, they actually want, sometimes they'll even want to score even more. So the possibility of goal here is a very great possibility, which you can actually look at an over 1.5 goal as one of the best possibility in this game, as well as you can also look at the possibility of an over 2.5 goal, which means that this selection is very great. Once you know that, come back again one step behind and go to the next. In this case, we have now Germany Obediga Hamburg, which is a match between, I will come back again, Germany Obediga Hamburg is a match between Turkey playing with Paloma. Repeat the same step and see which one has the highest percentage here. In this case, in goals, we have the percentage of 93, which is the greatest. No, we have 97, which is the greatest here. And we also have 93, which is still good because it is 90. 90 means great possibility. Once it is above 80 and going to 85, it means that it is good. So over 2.5 goal is above 85, which is going right to 90, which means the possibility of over 2.5 goal is still a big possibility to actually occur in this match. Click the match directly to actually make the calculation with the calculator and come out with the best pick as we have done for the last game calculation. Click on it directly and we'll be taking here. Once you are taking here, scroll right down to check the standings. Here in the standings, what you want to do is to take 64, which is the goal for, and divide by 34, which is a match played, to know the rate at which Paloma actually score. So 64 divided by 34, we are going to our calculator. 64 divided by 34, you are going to see that they have a goal score rate of 1.8, which is good. And it means that the possibility of scoring is good, but we have to also check the defense of the opponent or the rate at which they actually conceive. And in this case, we are actually going to take the number of goals. The opponent is Turkey. The number of goals against is 72. 72 divided by 34. So we'll actually do that to see 72 divided by 34. You are going to see that they actually conceive at a rate of 2.1, which is good for the opponent to actually score. In the same way, we'll actually go for Turkey, which is actually 59 divided by 34 to see the rate at which they score. 59 divided by 34. 59 divided by 34, they have a score rate of 1.7, which is still good, but this time we have to check now the defense of the opponent or the rate at which they conceive. If it is still good or they are not defensive, then it is good. In this case, we're actually going to take 48 divided by 34 for the opponent. That's 48 divided by 34, 48 divided by 34, 1.4, which means they are not very defensive. In other words, these two teams has a good possibility of scoring and a good possibility of also conceiving. So an over 1.5 or 2.5 goal possibility is a very big possibility in this match. So you are going to use this same strategy to come out with the best pick 10 as bankers of the day using this app called Bet Mentor. So this is the top strategy that you can actually use to come up with the best picks 10 as bankers of the day to actually include them in your bet slip. So thank you very much for watching. Do not forget to like, comment and subscribe, and also enable the notification bell icon so as to be the very first to receive new post notifications and updates whenever we create a new video or tutorial. And see you again in our next episode. Bye-bye.
And now I know my heart is a ghost town.